Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Creatio's webinar. Today is a special occasion because we'll be discussing Creatio's ideas about the top 5 reasons why digital and tech leaders should embrace low code during times of change. And this is certainly a time of change and dynamic customer needs in the world right now, so we're really happy to be joined by our highly valued partner as we walk through this discussion today. I'm excited to share that we're joined by Industrie Reply, who many of us have had the great opportunity and privilege to work closely with. My name is Creatio, and I look forward to also being joined by one of my colleagues from Creatio throughout the discussion today as well. We hope to make this a very interactive discussion, and we hope that our participants today will post their questions in the Q&A section throughout the webinar. Following the discussion, we'll also provide the registered participants with a recording of the webinar, and we hope to answer any of those unanswered questions today offline. So we prepared an agenda today for this discussion. First, we'll be introducing our speakers and the companies participating. As mentioned previously, we're joined by one of our very valued partners, Reply. Then we'll be talking about low-code features and market trends, followed by our expert discussion on why digital and tech leaders should embrace low-code. Next, we'll discuss use cases of low-code in different industries. We'll talk about Creatio's low-code platform and provide a CRM overview, and then we'll walk right into that Q&A discussion today. And again, we hope that our participants will take advantage of the fact that we have some great speakers on today and post their questions in the Q&A section. So now I'd like to introduce Davide Rossi. Davide, if you could give yourself a brief introduction, that would be great.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I'm Davide Rossi. I'm executive partner of Reply, and I'm responsible for Reply in the United States. I joined Reply a long time ago, 2007. I spent most of my time managing the cybersecurity company in Europe, and starting from January, I'm in charge of North America to expand and build the new living network overseas. Just a few words about Reply, if you can. Yeah, thank you. Reply is a consulting company focused on IT services and integration. And what makes us different is for sure the positioning. If you can go on the other slide, please.
Just a moment, we're going to click to the next slide. Right.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. What makes us different is the positioning. From the beginning, we decided we are not a typical big four consulting company, but at the same time, we are not the typical system integrator. We are in the middle, so we can help the customer starting from the processes, but also driving the customer through the implementation. And this positioning helped us during the years and also to reach our growth and our target. We are a living network, as I said, because from the beginning, we decided when Reply was founded, was 1996, we decided to have an holding and companies focus on one topic, one market sector, or one technology. Now we are more or less 150 companies spreading all over the world, and we have some key milestones. In year 2000, we gone public. We are listed at the Milan Stock Exchange. In 2006, we start with the international strategy with Germany. In 2009 in UK, and 2012 in the United States. United States for us is a key country because it's make us more international, and also we can support our customer all over the world. What else about Reply? Our key point, another key point is the innovation. We have a lot of multi-company tables for startups and new topics. For example, we started with the first project on cloud was in 2009, and we are working on the IoT since 2011. So a long story. As a network in the United States, we are able to cover all the Microsoft offering stack with two companies, Valorem Reply and WM Reply, and another network of the company that is focused on customer experience and supply chain, that is Industry Reply, that is joined the webinar today. Let me hand over to Jason now.
Thank you, Davide. Welcome, everybody. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting or working with in the past, my name is Jason Miller. I am Associate Partner and Head of Industry Reply and Head of our Customer Experience Practice here in North America. I've been working in the CRM and customer experience space for over the past 15 years. Prior to joining iReply, I worked for one of the big four Indian outsourcers focused on application development, application delivery for the insurance sector. So very familiar with CRM, CX, and our various mobile capabilities that we deliver here at Reply. A little bit more about Industry Reply, if we can go to the next slide, please. Industry Reply is, as Davide mentioned, is the network company here inside of the United States that focuses on the complete end-to-end supply chain and customer value chains. We've been here since 2013. We've got offices in Detroit and Chicago. We've also got Industry Reply in Germany. We focus on the end-to-end supply chain. So that's everything from supply chain execution, manufacturing execution, e-commerce, IoT, all the way through customer experience. We also focus on a lot of industry-specific application, including business process management and business process automation. So I'd like to now turn it over to our esteemed Creatio colleague, Eric, and you can talk a little bit more about our presentation today.
Perfect. Thanks, Jason, and welcome everyone. If we could, there we go. So yeah, as Jason had mentioned, my name is Eric Hale. I am the Director of Sales Enablement at Creatio. I've been in and around customer engagement and customer experience applications over 20 years now, so I got the gray hairs to prove that. But in my current role here at Creatio, my job is to help align our go-to-market strategy from a marketing, sales, and operations perspective. So also have a lot of experience working with our customers and how to help them through their digital transformation strategies. And I'm looking forward to going through this presentation and talking to you about some of the great material that we have prepared. So at this point, I will move forward here in the presentation.
Great, thank you so much, Eric. And looking forward to have you lead this discussion today. So Creatio is a globally diverse organization with 5 offices worldwide. We have over 650 employees and a robust channel network of over 700 partners, inclusive of consultants and system integrators. This robust channel network and large group of employees helps us to deliver our solution in 110 countries around the world. We're also highly recognized by key industry analysts, such as analysts from Gartner and Forrester, which we'll discuss later on today in a bit more detail. And we have a mission to help companies accelerate by providing a platform for to automate business ideas faster and easier. Now I'll hand it off to Eric again.
Great, thanks, Gray. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the low-code market, and when we talk about the low-code market, according to Forrester, this is a highly anticipated growth market. Forrester indicates that this market will grow from 15 billion in 2020 to 52 billion by 2024. So it's a market growth rate of 40 to 45% during this period. So we're really focused on this at Creatio, as well as what we're seeing from our partners like Industry Reply as well. So I'm just going to go back here. If we think about what low-code applications do, they enable rapid development and delivery of business applications, and we don't need any heavy coding or development skills to make this happen. And if we take a look at the history of programming languages, we can see an evolution dating back from the first computers in the 1940s to languages like Fortran, COBOL, C, C++, and all the way to JavaScript. Each of these evolutions making it easier for developers to create custom applications and processes. And really the reasoning behind that is instead of requiring full programming languages, we started to see smaller and simpler scripts that would be able to create simpler tasks. And if we fast forward to today, we see more and more development becoming a visual design capability. And this is really what low code is an example of, right? We're able to visually design applications and processes without having any deep coding skills or development skills. And if we could move on to the next slide, that'd be great. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. We might have gone one too far. Seems like we're having a little mouse trouble here today. There we go. All right. So if we take a look at what can be built with visual low-code application designs, you can build enterprise-grade applications for many different business tasks and purposes. You can also increase operational efficiencies by automating manual and repetitive tasks, which will reduce the cost of errors and risk. Also define workflows, build processes for any tasks of different complexities, and really automate operations across entire organizations. We also can define and configure data models, any business logic, user interfaces, both for web and mobile applications. And then finally, we can also build and train AI and machine learning algorithms that will help predict the next best action or the next best offer for the customer. There we go. So, we mentioned that, at the beginning of this presentation that, the low-code market is projected to grow, exponentially by the year 2024. APAC has witnessed an advanced and dynamic adoption of new technologies and is expected to record the highest compound average growth rate in the market over the next forecasted period. So APAC has, major economies like China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, which are all expected to register high growth rates in low-code application development. So here are some additional intelligence about how the market is growing, and it's really driven by the growth of digital transformation. Much of the low-code growth is being driven by the difficulty of finding coders with the right skills and experience to get applications up and running. So why not put the ability to create applications in the hands of business analysts who define those requirements, right? So if we look at that capability, by 2024, 65% of application development will be done using low-code technologies. So again, not requiring heavy development resources or any coding skills necessary. So we're tracking 220 vendors in low-code development tools. So Gartner is taking a heavy look at this, and again, we're anticipating this to be a very high growth rate for low-code technologies. Yeah, wow, we get a delay here, guys. I'm really apologize for this. There we go. All right, so if there's one thing that the current health crisis has exposed is that organizations have a lot of broken processes, and really this has forced them to find new ways of addressing gaps. So whether that's lack of resources, budget constraints, maybe it's outdated technology, but this is really where low-code shines, right? So we have, we see that low-code development is up to 20 times faster than, traditional development methods. We see that, citizen development resources are 19% cheaper than traditional developers. If you go out to Glassdoor, you can quickly see that those resources are a lot cheaper. And a good example of this really is New York City. They had the ability to launch a coronavirus management platform in just 72 hours utilizing a no-code platform. So this is a great example of how quickly you can get an application up and running and producing value utilizing low-code technology. So we went ahead one too far, guys. Can we go back a couple of slides, please? I think we're going in the wrong direction. Technology, yeah. So if there's one thing that this
Agree, Eric.
This is exposed, is that technology does not.
I think we're in the right place now. How does this look?
There you go. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Just kind of summarize, the top 5 reasons for businesses to invest in low-code technology. We look at, 5 specific areas, right? We look at the empowerment of business. And what that means is businesses really need to automate their operations in a manner that's going to be both timely and cost effective. So in order to deliver needed applications fast, using existing IT resources, organizations need to eliminate the IT delivery gap, right? So we know that business demand is going to grow 5 times faster than IT departments have the capability to meet those expectations. Next is really agility, right? So a rich ecosystem of intuitive visual designers, ready to use code snippets, form and report templates, and the ability to utilize built-in connectors that will help you roll out new applications faster. Next is speed to market. With the increasing speed of business transformation, developers are looking for ways to be more productive and deliver applications they need faster. Cost savings. We had mentioned the cost savings difference between traditional and citizen developer resources. So low code requires less formal programming expertise, which really helps close the IT gap that many companies face without requiring them to hire additional IT experts to cover that gap. Low code also enables citizen developers to develop applications without heavy IT involvement, which really can also help cut down the backlog while minimizing the cost of those resources. And then finally, low-code systems include, important security features like administration tools, access controls, and threat assessments. This really allows the system security to be configured and monitored closely. So these are the top 5 reasons that we feel that companies should embrace and implement low-code technologies. So to expound upon that a little further, we're going to open it up for a little fireside chat with our guests here on the call. Jason, Davide, there we go. We see those faces now. How are you guys?
Good, thank you.
Perfect. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So, just to kick things off, given the fact that we just went over those 5 reasons that people should invest to low code, if you can give us a quick, 1 or 2 minutes on your perspective on how low code can help organizations. Davide, why don't we start with you?
We are working with very different customers in different markets. So starting from the finance sector and insurance company or manufacturing. My idea, and not just coming from the analyst, is that low code will help us a lot not just during the implementation, but also during the maintenance part of the application, right? So this is not a cost saving. I don't like to speak about cost saving, to be honest, but it's also helping the managers, the CIO, and or the demand management from the IT department to be a business enabler, because you know, it's very important for the suggestion that I give every time to my customer is to try to be a business enabler. Otherwise, the IT department will be always considered like cost, and it's not correct. Because if you are considered like a cost, your budget will rise down, right? So.
Absolutely, absolutely. And hey, Jason, how about from your perspective?
Yeah, I think Davide hit a lot of the key points there. I think the additional thing to think about is time to market, right? So with a lot of things going on in the world right now, the ability to shift the direction that you're headed, and the ability to have a platform or a technology that you can use that not only helps enable that, but allows you to quickly respond to changing business demands. That's a big thing. I think that companies need to be looking at as they think about how to rationalize their portfolio and set up their IT application infrastructure, whether they're looking for moving from on-prem solutions to SaaS solutions, looking to move from more monolithic applications to more application, minor app that are linked together. All of these things play into a business strategy now that they need to consider. And I think using low-code technologies and platform as a service and software as a service helps enable businesses to be able to achieve those goals much faster than in the past.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And even on top of the the speed to market, you can also consolidate technology, right? When you talk about platform as a service, you're not purchasing multiple point solutions to solve specific needs. You can get that all managed under a single technology. So great point, guys. In order to just kind of drill down on that a little bit, Davide. So I know that Reply works with a lot of different types of organizations to help them, build strategy. Given the recent environment that we're in, have you seen companies you interact with starting to embrace new technologies? Given the fact that they're being driven to over the last, let's say, few months.
Yeah, that's sure. As I said, we are working with big organization in different markets. It's not just a matter of months, but also from years, because every company is going to change and to embrace different technologies. In particular, with a crazy COVID situation, let me give an example. A few weeks ago, a customer called us and say, guys, it was a retail customer, and he said, guys, I need to change 100% my go-to-market because shops are closed. My customer has a shelter in place or at home, so my business is asking me to have the most beautiful application, and has to be done yesterday, not tomorrow. So I think this is the typical request that our customer is receiving from the business. And for sure, low code can help us helping our customer reaching the target and also helping the business. So this is the main topic for during this COVID situation. So embracing new technology for sure, but not just few months, but it comes from years.
Yeah, no, I absolutely couldn't agree more. I think that it may have forced a few companies to expedite that a little quicker, but yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you for that, Jason. So next question I have really is surrounding IT strain. We all know that IT resources are typically spread pretty thin. Business demands for applications are growing. That expectation is we want to get those business applications up and running. IT departments would love to keep up with that backlog, but they're really kind of spread thin. Do you think by enabling business users with low-code technologies can help alleviate the IT strain? We gave a couple of examples of that, but I know you guys are closer to that and working with your customers. How do you think that's going to help?
And I think there's two major ways that a platform that's a low-code, no-code platform can help. There's a couple of options, right? And the business is always happy to help get closer to the business and to help and to help the IT folks out, right? So your business, your citizen developers can act as a force multiplier for your IT organizations. On top of that, using unified platforms such as Creatio and other low-code, no-code platforms, it gives you the governance and controls that the information security folks are always looking for. So when we talked about the 5 or 6 major points earlier, a couple slides ago, that talked about why low-code platforms are becoming so popular and how they enable enterprises to succeed, it's really important to think about all aspects. So how are we maintaining our governance? How are we, using the systems in such a way that we can still maintain control, but enable and more focus on that shift left mentality we've been focused on for years? How can we do that and still meet our governance and our compliance wickets? So low code, no code platforms are definitely helping companies achieve both of those goals, and therefore helping them enable business in a more reactive way than they've been able to before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fantastic point, right? Because with this capability, it can turn into the wild, wild west, right? Like we can have many applications being developed at the business level, and then when something breaks and they have to come back to IT, that's a lot to manage. So that's a great point, Jason. So my next question is for Davide. So there was a recent McKinsey study that stated that as much as 30% of IT spend can be saved by taking measures that leverage flexibility into the cost model. So for an example, eliminating discretionary spending or delaying non-essential products, and also maybe reducing demand volume and service levels. Do you think that low code can help change the traditional IT cost model?
I don't know if I agree 100% with McKinsey, but let me say it's a good study. I took a look to the report, but let me take the question from another point of view, because as I said, I don't like to speak about money savings, because I'm quite sure that in the future our customer has to increase the spending on the IT, because also otherwise they can't compete. The saving has to be spent in another way. So let me recap in one sense. We can, with a low-code platform, you can do more things with the same money, and I think this is really important, because also, and when the business will see that you can provide them the correct application, the correct integration in few times, you will face a strong demand increase from them. And it's sure, and also Jason before was speaking about the time to market. If you can provide different architecture, complex business application with a better time to market, you will receive more requests, and the IT department will become more strategic. I don't know if I answer you right, so.
No, that's actually a very good explanation, and it actually leads me into my next question, because we know you love to talk about cost, Davide. We know, but in not just today's environment, but one of the things that business and IT leaders are always struggling with is the ability to balance costs, right, with the need to invest in new technology and productivity. So it's this delicate balance of how do we reduce our costs, but how do we also invest in innovation and productivity? How does low code kind of address this challenge?
Let me start with my base idea of low code, that is rapid delivery of business application. This is, I think, the base example for to understand also the improve of the productivity of your team and of your IT department. If you think that there was a slide before, but you have to think that normally, if you think how much time you need to maintain and to develop a legacy application, if you change it with a low-code platform, you move from days to minutes. So this can explain to you and to our attendees that a low-code platform can really scratch the time and also save money, improving the opportunity, the opportunity of the IT to support the business and also the productivity for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you know, from my perspective, and I've got a unique perspective because you know we have a low-code platform. So, yeah, I think low-code does address that you know, that need, right? Like, and helps balance that, because it is how do we innovate, how do we create applications and get them producing a quicker time to value while reducing costs? Well, that's a perfect case scenario for low code, because low code enables both, right? And enables you to get things up and running very quickly, and you can do that without utilizing expensive resources to do so. And I think that the benefits, you know, of the ability to do that is, you know, it speaks exactly to that question. So, you know, thank you for that. So my next.
Let me add that the IT has to be more aligned to the business, also with the timing. Otherwise, the business will do with different with the shadow IT. Let me say that is really mess for our customers, because if you cannot support the business request in the right time, the business go through an agency or a different department, and you lose the control. So it's mandatory for the IT.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. Excellent. So, you know, my next question is surrounding, you know, customer trust and loyalty. And Jason, I know that, you know, you've worked in and around customer experience applications for a number of years. You know, do you think that low-code can help, you know, customer experience, you know, leaders address, you know, immediate customer needs and prepare for the future? You know, we've seen, you know, kind of a breakdown in that, you know, where, you know, we've had to change business models. You know, how can low code help from a customer experience perspective?
I think there's a couple of things. Obviously, the business is, you know, 99% of the time the masters of what their customers want, need is. So, you know, the more that you shift towards the business engagement and getting that low code technology in their hands, they can help, you know, more clearly define. We went that same way by pulling business teams into agile teams and trying to move that development and the business together. Low code's the same example, right? So as we move closer to the business by enabling citizen developers that could be non-coders, that could be, you know, just straight business folks, as we enable them through this series of platforms, we do two things. The first one is we can define that customer flow, customer journey much easier. Using something like Creatio Studio, we're able to literally map the business steps and the business processes and have those instantly turn into business outcomes. The other thing that you've got to think about is in this time of need and this time of turmoil that we've went through, how are we continuing our operations as a company using low-code technologies, and how can that enable us through things like travel restrictions, business continuity plans, you know, aggregate and disparate workforce now? Having a unified platform like Creatio can help us manage those things in a much better fashion. Whereas before you had, you know, one Java team off doing one thing, then you had a UX UI team off doing another. And even if they sat in the same building, it was hard to get them to talk. By having that low code, no code platform in place, you can work through all of these things on a single platform and keep the team connected as you go through the various business processes and steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, and you led right into my next question. So I think you've kind of addressed that. But you know, to your point about customer experience, I mean, even before this crisis, we all know that customer experience, can be the last true differentiator for a lot of organizations. You can only sell on price, you can only sell on product differentiation for so long before your competitors catch up. So really, it's those companies that focus on that customer experience that are going to, do well through any, any environment, whether that's, plush times or, these challenging times that we're having now. So, couldn't agree more. And we're able to take care of that from a low-code perspective because we can ensure consistent experience, regardless of, again, the time, channel of choice. And then, the second point that you have surrounding business continuity, disaster recovery, again, that's really where, low code is, helping organizations be, more efficient in the way that they can adapt to that very quickly. Excellent. Well, I really appreciate the chat, guys. This is great insight into, again, those 5 pillars of why people need to be investing in low-code technologies. So I think at this point, we'll go ahead and move forward in the presentation because we want to make sure that we leave enough time at the end for some question and answers from our audience. So thanks again, guys. And I believe we are now moving into, you can bear with me, use cases for low-code platforms. Yes, so let me start by saying, we have a lot of great customers that are leveraging our low-code platform to enable multiple different things. So the first use case I'd like to discuss is Visteon. Visteon is a $4 billion organization that focuses on the manufacture of dashboards. It's actually a spin-off of the Ford Motor Company. They have 10,000 employees. They operate in over 19 countries. So the challenge that Visteon had is that they were looking to double their revenue over a 5-year period. And they wanted to accomplish this by reducing the amount of time it took for them to quote their customers. They don't have a lot of customers, but they do have a lot of opportunity with these customers. And if you think about their opportunities, it's more of a project. So in order to quote each one of their customers, they had something like a 3 to 4 month quote time frame from design to manufacturing to how they're going to deliver that to end users. So they really had a challenge with, okay, we want to double our revenue. So how do we do that? We need to double the amount of quotes that we're able to put out. So that being said, they were looking for a way to to reduce the amount of time that it was taking them to get these quotes out. So again, you'll see on the screen here, they have 6 different processes that they wanted to manage more efficiently and automate. So they were able to do that with Creatio's low-code platform, utilizing our business process management engine, and also case management, which is more of a workflow tool. So we were able to connect those processes across multiple organizations. So the net result of having that up and running was that they were able to reduce the time it took to quote their customers by 30%. Now, if you think of that, they can now produce more quotes, therefore generating more revenue. So their goal is to double their revenue in the next 5 years. So we're already at 30%. We've got a few more years on that cycle. So we'll be interested to see the additional results that they're able to achieve. The next case study that we'd like to discuss is Tele2. Tele2 is one of the largest telecommunication providers in Europe. They're based out of Sweden. They have 40 million subscribers and 9,000 employees that are spread out over 4 different time zones. So the challenge that Tele2 had was they needed to maintain their customer requests or customer cases across 4 different time zones, and again, ensure that there's a consistent level of service being provided. And it was very difficult for them to manage, from a headquarter location in Sweden across these 4 different time zones. So they're utilizing the Creatio platform to automate their customer service case routing, as well as being able to create, consolidated history of those interactions amongst all of their 40 million subscribers. You'll see that statistics right in the middle of the screen there, 10,000 requests a day. So they have to manage that in a way that it is consistent. So they were able to consolidate that case management process and guide their agents through those interactions, utilizing, again, our business process management engine and dynamic case management to ensure that those customers were being handled efficiently and effectively across 4 different time zones. So great example of people that were able to get applications up and running very quickly and producing value almost immediately after implementing these solutions. Jason, I think I'm turning it over to you to discuss the next case study.
Yeah, just real quickly, I know we're running a little short on time here, but you can go back to the first slide here. The supply chain use case for low-code platform is very interesting. And what we've done is we had previously implemented a solution using a different full CRM system, Microsoft Dynamics, to address a supply chain quality and supply chain parts visibility issue for our client CNH Industrial. For those of you who aren't sure who CNH Industrial is, they are the farm, ag, and construction business for Fiat Chrysler. So they're headquartered in the Chicago area. They really focused their problems on driving a central quality solution for their 12 depots and over 800,000 SKUs that they had. They were really focused on 4 main areas: fragmented data, manual issue tracking, poor visibility into their supply chain, and their overall effectiveness of communications across some 20 million transactions per year within their supply chain. And if we look at the solution, next slide please, if we look at the solution that we were able to do, what we had previously done using Microsoft Dynamics, which took us over 3 months to build out, using Microsoft Dynamics as well as our WMS platform. What we were able to do is we were able to use Creatio and rebuild this in a low-code, no-code environment in a fraction of the time, bringing total visibility to their supply chain, bringing total visibility to their issues that they were having, and helping coordinate across customer care, central quality, and their warehouses. This provided them the ability to see real-time information within their supply chain, real-time information as issues around parts quality were raised, regardless of the source, and then it also gave them the ability to central manage. And for those of you who didn't have a chance, we actually did a separate webinar on this that's available on the Creatio YouTube page. I welcome you to go back and take a look a little bit deeper in this use case. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to the Creatio team and we can continue on.
Great, thank you so much, Jason. Thank you, Davide and Jason, for an excellent expert discussion, and Eric for tailing that discussion today. So now we want to talk a little bit and reiterate that when we talk specifically about Creatio's low-code capabilities, it's important to emphasize that our platform facilitates the automation of all tasks ranging in complexity across use cases. Users. Our customers spread across the globe across many different industries, truly speaking to the flexibility and versatility of our low-code platform. And we quickly want to just emphasize that, Creatio's vision is that we believe that we've created a world where everyone can automate business ideas within minutes. And, users with little to no coding experience can automate processes and simplify daily tasks. And we accomplish this vision through our Creatio superpowers, which are really our core differentiators here. We've outlined them here for you today as our unified CRM that aligns sales, service, and marketing, our BPM engine to change processes faster, and our low-code platform to enable everyone to be a developer. When we provide an overview of our product architecture here, Creatio's low-code studio offering is built on the foundation of our full, all-encompassing CRM suite of sales, service, and marketing. This is really what drives and differentiates our platform. Again, giving our users the ability to create and customize applications for process management and for the unified CRM suite, as noted here, as sales, marketing, and service. Our low-code tool, Studio, enables our users to build full-fledged applications for sales, service, and marketing functionalities. Additionally, Creatio Marketplace, as you see here on the right, is an online forum where a large community of partners share over 600 add-ons, connectors, and templates used by Creatio customers for specific needs and use cases. And these are really the best of breed, out of the box functionalities that we offer to our customers. We did touch on that analyst recognition just a little bit earlier today. We are highly regarded by many industry analysts. This is a snapshot of what we've accomplished with Forrester, our recognition. We are included in 7 Forrester waves, of which we're a strong performer in. The first 2 of these Forrester waves really speaking to our process automation and low-code capabilities, and the latter 5 really speaking to our CRM and SFA capabilities. Again, this is a tremendous accomplishment that we're very proud of, and we continue to grow this analyst recognition over time. We're also included in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants, 2 of which we are a leader in, the leader for Salesforce automation and the leader for CRM lead management, in the Magic Quadrant for CRM lead management, excuse me. Again, it's a very, very impressive accomplishment to be included in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants, and we really value that this speaks to our low-code capabilities in a high regard. So I want to thank our speakers again today. So let's take some time to answer some of the audience's questions. What do you think, guys?
Perfect. Sounds great.
Great. So our first question is, how can low code drive online engagement?
I'll take that one. This is Jason. I think low code and online engagement, I think there's a couple of things to think about. If we're talking about customer engagement, that's a little bit interesting, right? Because you still have to have an understanding of UX, UI as you're designing the front ends. What makes low code and no code platforms ideal for helping drive customer experience and customer engagement is you can have a set of rules or a set platform that can help you modify the back end so that as you have portals or something that are coming into that solution, you've already got the engine and the rules set that you need, so you can kick off triggers more easily. You can set and define workflows that triggers from a front end are driving. That can help you speed up things like responses to customer queries. It can help you set up and do things like customer case management or issue resolution for customers. So it's a pretty broad question, but where low code, no code really shines in the CX space, it's going to help us drive those consistent experiences for our customers by stabilizing and helping us define those processes behind what the customer is seeing.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jason. That was great for our audience. What are the key ways low code can enable and optimize remote teams? And I know we talked a little bit about this, Eric, in your discussion, but maybe we can continue to elaborate on this for our audience today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, to Jason's point, we were able to put a lot of processes in place, right? That remote teams still need to follow, right? It's extending our processes and having the ability to work from everywhere, utilizing those processes. So low code, helps align those processes across any remote employee. We gave some great examples of companies that may have different locations and needing to align those processes. But it's also what we're seeing from a remote employee perspective as well. With everybody not under the same roof, we still need to make sure that we're following those exact processes. And low code having the ability to drive users, create custom workflows and custom business processes, we're able to accomplish that and enable them to work effectively while remote.
Great, thank you so much, Eric. We have another question, and that is, do you really think it's the right time to invest in low code now? I think we definitely did talk about this a little bit, but I'm sure this is one that we can all confidently say it is the right time. But if we want to elaborate on this quickly for our audience today.
I think it's a good question for Davide.
Yeah, sorry, was mute. No, it for sure is the right time. Depending also about your core business. But if you are thinking about a digital transformation project, or if you are driving a digital transformation project, and you need to refresh and to build some new features, is for me, my suggestion is mandatory to invest. Otherwise, you are not innovating your software development capabilities for sure, but also you continue to use the same approach. And I think it's the low code, no code approach is not totally innovative. Let me say, don't take me wrong, but we were speaking about object-oriented development many years ago, but now is different because you have a high level of security because you don't have to write code. You have a high level of continuity of the business. You can also increase your team and do more things with less time, with the same time. So, and with the same money. So definitely, yes, this is the right moment to start. Also, if you are running a project or if you are integrating different technologies, using a low-code, no-code platform is the right time to do it.
And I'd just like to add to that too. So about, I guess, a month or so ago now, we ran a Creatio Arena event that we talked about. Was it the right time to invest? And the team was overwhelmingly, and all of the respondents to the queries were overwhelmingly in agreement with you, Davide. They said that it's not only the right time, but it's a necessity, right? How do we better position our companies to come out of this slowdown or come out of this COVID crisis? And the companies were saying that we have to make sure that we are positioned in line and even ahead of our competitors. And they said by investing now in a smart manner, where we still hold on to some of our cash and our capital, but looking at new technologies that are disruptive so we can have those better positions coming out is absolutely something that companies need to be doing now so that they can be ahead of the competition coming out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but look,
that's a great point, Jason.
Think about.
Excellent. And we have another question from the audience that I think would be great for us to answer, and that is, how do you see the near future for people who have job experience and want to work with low code, but still don't know yet how to use low code? How to code, excuse me.
So I would love to take this one if you guys don't mind. And Eric, you can come on behind me. If you're, say, a business analyst, someone who has no idea how to code, if you've ever used Visio or you've ever used any sort of process mapping application, this is the type of platform that's perfect because it allows you to, in one step, define a process and start integrating with your back-end systems. That's the beauty of it. So even if you don't know how to code, as a citizen developer, especially using the Studio product, you can just do the things that you normally do, which is process mapping, and instantly develop workflows, instantly develop triggers, and instantly develop an entire end-to-end work stream without having the knowledge or the experience in coding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that's a perfect description, Jason. Really, what low code is designed for, right, is to enable citizen development. And how to learn citizen development or how to use low code it's very simple. If you have a good understanding of your processes and a good understanding of, from a business standpoint, what you're trying to accomplish, you can utilize low code technology to design that in a manner that's very visual. It's literally just drag and drop technology and then defining what you want to have happen under each one of those steps. And in terms of how to learn that, there are multiple resources. I know at Creatio we have our what we call a Creatio Academy, which really is an online repository of resources that our customers and our partners can access, to learn everything they need to know about how to utilize low-code technology. So whether that's user manuals, white papers, videos, we have guided learning, everything that we can possibly offer to equip our customers and our partners with the ability to learn this. And what I will say is that, I'm in sales. We're not very technical in terms of, setting up business processes and things, but, part of my onboarding process here at Creatio, I was required to kind of design a process flow, and I was able to do that very easily within, just a couple of days of learning how to use the code. So it's really intuitive and easy to use. So I would encourage more and more people to have a look at it.
Excellent. And we have another question that has just come in. How can low code replace traditional ERPs such as Epicor and Inform?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and we kind of covered that a little bit in our supply chain use case. What I would say is there's three things here. ERP systems, the traditional, the Oracle eBiz, the SAP, even something like Dynamics F&O now, they are very monolithic applications that take a lot of time and a lot of deep process to run these through. By using things like low-code platforms or call it appification, if we use things like that, and here at Industry Reply, we've got a tool called LEA, Logistics Application Architecture. It's the Logistics Execution Architecture. It is the way that we are able to take individual modules instead of deploying full ERP systems, and then tie something like a low-code, no-code platform like Creatio to drive the business processes, where ERP systems would have full monolithic applications. We can chunk this out and deploy individual applications to solve very specific business needs. And I think our supply chain execution example was one of those for supply chain visibility. But we've already started to come up with a lot of other use cases where we can take Creatio and our LEA architecture and put those together to solve very specific business needs without having to do massive million-dollar implementations of ERP systems. So it's a great question. Would love to talk more about that. If you have any questions, you can let us know. With that, I'll turn it back over.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason. What could be an example of an app built using low code?
Eric, you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, an app being, virtually you can build any type of application, but just to give you some examples, these can be anything from like front office applications, anything where we're building, applications to interact with customers. If you think of, let's say, financial institutions and banks, we can build applications for lending management, account openings, anything where we're facing, customers. We can make that process easier. But it also can automate and create applications for back office applications. So to keep along that same theme of banks and financial institutions, we have those front office applications, but then those applications will have to move to the back office as well. So we can start to manage things like maybe it's underwriting, loan origination, all kinds of different applications in the back office. And if we even took it a step further from that, we can start to manage internal applications as well. So maybe it's HR applications. How do you manage your internal employees? Well, we can build applications for things like requesting time off, or how do we transfer employees or employee onboarding. We can start to build applications across multiple functions, but there really is not a limit on what you can create in terms of applications utilizing low-code technology. But that's just a kind of a way to summarize it, right? Whether that's front office, middle office, or back office applications, we can design them very easily. Again, as long as we understand what we want to accomplish within that application, you can build it very easily utilizing low code.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Eric, for wrapping up with this question here today. And thank you so much to Davide and Jason for joining us on this webinar today. This was an excellent discussion. You guys, thank you so much. Thank you to our audience for participating, for posting your questions in the Q&A section. And thank you for joining us. And we look forward to having you on future Creatio webinars.
Thanks, guys.